What's up, WiseTake? Welcome to another edition of the NFL podcast. I am your host, Patio Joe, and I am joined here once again by my boy Matt. Follow him on Twitter at Scribeezy. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I guess we have a little bit of connection problems this week, so we're going to be going in and out. I think it's an internet, like whole internet kind of thing. So everybody, bear with us. Um, I am just chilling. It's the night before Thanksgiving. Kind of shows just our age. I mean, you're on the East Coast, so it's a little bit later, but normally, like, this is like the biggest drinking night of the year. So it's kind of tough that, we're not out drinking and having a good time. We're at home and chilling, talking about week 13, which is the last week of most seasonal regular season leagues. So this is a big week for everybody in seasonal trying to make the playoffs. But for DFS, we have I think it's an 11 game slate.
11, yeah.
Yeah, 11 game slate. We have some interesting games. I think that the public is going to gravitate to. But do you think that there's like a major a game stack opportunity? I think Oakland KC is probably the most attractive game on the slate. What do you think?
I think LA versus Arizona is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could work. I could understand that, just because the Cardinals give up the most points to the quarterback position, and Jared Goff's coming off a terrible game. The Rams are kind of being embarrassed. Cardinals are coming off of bye week where they almost beat Niners. Yeah, I like that game. I could see that garnering some ownership. I think also the Tampa Jacksonville again going to get a little bit of popularity. We have once the high-powered offense of the Buccaneers going up against Jacksonville D that just doesn't. I'm not scared of it anymore. You can run on them since Darius is out, so guys like Ronald Jones might be in play. But then on the other side, you have probably um, Nick Foles' best matchup of the year at home. It's a get right spot. So like guys like DJ Chark, DD Westbrook, probably going to eat, and Nick Foles should be a pretty decent play. That being said, you have something to say?
No.
That being said, let's get into quarterbacks for this week. To me, I feel like Lamar is a GPP option this week going up against the Niners. I think Lamar, if you wanted to play Lamar, I'm not going to fault you. The guy is just in right now. But to me, guy right below him, Patrick Mahomes at 8,600 on FanDuel. I think he's going to be the popular pick. He's coming off of a bye week at home against terrible defense. Just got tore up by Sam freaking Darnold. So we got Mahomes at. What do you think about that? He put up 28 points in one quarter earlier this year against the Raiders, and he was at a higher price than he is now. So talking about Mahomes, and anybody else you like for cash or tournament.
So I love Mahomes, and I think obviously he's in a really good spot to have a really good game. But I think an intangible thing about this game is just Gruden's pride in general. Like they got embarrassed last, really, really bad, and he's gonna let the players know about in practice all week. I just feel like they're gonna have a much better effort. So that's the only thing that would really scare me away in any way. But it's obviously a game that's set up to explode. But I guess where I'm looking is I'm just gonna go back to the well with Jameis. He's 6,300 on DraftKings, playing against the Jaguars, like we said, and I don't understand why they don't have him priced up with, closer towards Lamar Jackson, because he's putting up close to the same numbers, at least passing every single week. He's putting up at least 20. Um, that's pretty much been his floor. And then his ceiling's obviously in the 30s, where Lamar's is in the 40s. But um, I think with Lamar this week, playing at home makes this just completely different. And the Ravens, the Rams have a really good run defense, right? And the Ravens pretty much just it doesn't even matter who's in front of them. They kind of just run and have their way with anyone. So I don't know. I really Lamar's not going to be popular. I'm going to be pretty heavily in on him, especially in tournaments.
I think you're right about it. Some other guys at QB, I think that are going to garner a lot of popularity, a little bit of ownership. I think Aaron Rodgers, he's in the get right spot of the week at home, on the road actually against the Giants. Terrible secondary, DeAndre Baker, Janoris Jenkins, they just can't cover anybody. I just feel like he's a good spot at 8,100. Sam Darnold, he's been playing well, very well lately. And I think, honestly, this is going to be an interesting play. However, I think it's going to garner some popularity on FanDuel, especially in cash games. But the Bengals made a switch again at quarterback, and Andy Dalton is min price on. And he's going to be able to allow you to get in every other player you want if you're playing down at quarterback. All he has to get you 15 to 18 points against a Jets D who is very good, one of the best run Ds, if not the best run D in the league. However, can pass on them. A little bit of talk of AJ Green being back. And even if the game script should be in Dalton's favor, they're not going to be able to run the ball with Mixon. They have one of the worst offensive lines. It obviously went back to Dalton because Finley was so bad. At min price,
is pretty bad.
at min price, Andy Dalton is a competent quarterback who, if he was starting, would be 7K. What do you think about Dalton in cash?
I mean, I love paying down for quarterbacks in cash, and I mean, I'm gonna play cash on both sites, so I'm most likely gonna go there. Especially on DraftKings, 4,700. I mean, he's priced like a decent wide receiver 3. So, I mean, cash, I think it's like it's a lock for me. I know he hasn't played in a little bit, but he definitely doesn't want to stop playing football. So he wants to show, he's obviously not going to be on the Bengals next year, but he wants to show some team that he has something left in the tank. So it's kind of like an audition, in some sense, for him to kind of maybe the Ryan Tannehill thing, which it's not going to happen with Andy Dalton, but maybe if he's in a better system. I mean, he's been doomed his whole career. He's had Marvin Lewis, this new system. He hasn't had a chance other than being paired with AJ Green. So you never know.
Either him or Phillip Rivers will be playing for the Broncos next. How about that take?
Oh my God, John Elway's.
Think about it. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm telling you, I'm not crazy on that. So, anyways, let me ask you about one other guy, and then we'll move on to running backs, because I think there's a lot more passers we can talk about. Kyler Murray, I think, is a decent floor for cash. If you wanted to play him, he's a decent GPP. Do you feel like he's coming into his own? But the guy I want to talk to you about is your boy from Philly, traveling down to Miami, Carson Wentz. He is just not. He hasn't had a good game. He needs to get right more than anybody in the league, I think, right now.
I mean, this would be a good place to do it. I just hope he's focused on the right things and doesn't have the whole Miami effect. I don't think he's like that. I don't think he's a big party guy, but I mean, he keeps making me look bad. I that for him every single week, and then he does really, really, really bad things like miss a wide open Miles Sanders for an easy touchdown that would have really helped improve my day.
It's all Miles Sanders, yes, I
know. That was extremely frustrating. It was like the most walk-in touchdown ever. If he caught it, he could have just literally ran into the end zone in the locker room. Nobody would have ever been close to him. But for some reason, Wentz sailed it like 7 feet over his head. And it was just stuff like that happening all game long. It's kind of been happening for the past couple weeks. I said it last week that his accuracy, he makes these insane throws where you're just like, God, he's a god. And then the easy, simple, basic routine throws, they're like a very big obstacle for him. But Miami looked awful last week. They look like the pre-2 wins Dolphins. They look like they're back in tank mode. So, I mean, if he can't get right here, I'm gonna literally be off of him for the entire rest of the year, and feel like maybe he isn't the guy, which would suck because we just gave him a shit ton of money.
Mm. Well, he's famous for like escaping like the sacks and then making the wild throws. He's kind of like the shortstop that makes the diving play, goes into the hole behind his back and still throws the guy out, but the ground ball right to him, he lets legs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
perfect analogy.
So that's where I think Carson wins that. But this is a get right spot for him. Couldn't play him in cash, but the problem is that in GPPs though, I just don't see like the Dolphins being like a good dancing partner. You know what I'm saying? Like going to be scoring back. I don't know. And if it is, honestly, when we get to receivers, obviously the Dolphins receiver we like, so it's not like they're totally unplayable. But I think that Fitzpatrick people have been playing him too, so it's kind of interesting. So, but quarterback, I think it's wide open. A lot of places. Basically, to me, it's probably going to be Mahomes, Dalton, Rodgers, maybe some Murray. I really like playing Kyler Murray a lot. He turned me around. Beginning of the season, I was not into him. I was a Kyler Murray hater. It wasn't that I was so much a hater. I just didn't think that he was good enough going where he was drafted in fantasy drafts and stuff. Like he was going ahead of some really good quarterbacks. And I still think it's right. He shouldn't be going where he was, but he has definitely become a very, very viable quarterback, especially for fantasy. So before we move on to running backs, got to ask you something. It's Thanksgiving, Scribeezy. Got to know, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I love brisket. I know it's Turkey Day, but
exactly.
I prefer to stuff my face with fucking brisket. Literally just eat brisket doused in gravy and literally just get it all over my face, everywhere. Just no judgments from anyone. I don't care. I just want to fucking stuff my face with it. It's incredible. What about you? What do you like? I feel like you're a turkey guy.
But you sounded like my ex-girlfriend when I caught her cheating on me. It was kind of funny what you just said right there, but anyways, that was a joke. But believe it or not, I'm more of like I like the side dishes a lot. So my favorite side dish. Somebody makes this corn casserole thing where it's like a breaded corn casserole dish. And I know, and it's funny because you say brisket, that's like totally like East Coast. We never have that. Like West Coast, like West Coast Italian. Sometimes we'll have raviolis with with our turkeys and stuff. But we have this corn casserole where it's just a breaded corn casserole. It's got corn in it, and I love it. And it's probably my favorite dish. It's the one that came to. Speaking of favorite dish, C-Mac, mac and cheese. I love that dish too. But C-Mac is 11K on FanDuel. He's going up against the Skins at home. To me, I'm just locking him in, especially if we're playing Dalton. If we're playing Dalton, you lock it in C-Mac, not thinking twice about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you have to, and then, I mean, for me, at least on DraftKings, pairing him up with somebody like Miles Sanders, who this is the Miles Sanders. It has to be. So Philly would obviously prefer to run the ball. That's the other thing that kind of might scare me a little bit off of Wentz. I know he needs a get right spot, but this might not necessarily be it because I don't think they're going to need him. If you look at the games that they've won, they haven't really relied on him to throw it much. They've dominated on the ground. You can refer back to that Green Bay game, right? I mean, Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders both had good games. The Buffalo game, They destroyed them. That's what they would prefer to do, is run the ball. So it's not like he really has anyone to throw to. They're moving Arcega-Whiteside to the outside, but I think they're just going to run the ball all game, which is going to open up a really good opportunity for Sanders. Obviously, with Wentz throwing the ball to him, his receiving floor is a little bit lower, but I like that combination potentially, especially since he's playing the Dolphins. I mean, running backs in cash against the Dolphins hasn't been a non-profitable strategy this year.
What about Ajayi? We got going back to Miami.
That's a really good point. I don't know how.
Vulturing. That's the problem. I think Sanders is a better runner. I think he'll be involved. He'll be more catching, but going to get in the goal line. Ajayi's going to be the guy that's going to run.
Yeah, I mean, he's min price on DK.
Yeah, and he's pretty much, he's 4,800 on FanDuel. You know, it's funny. People were talking about him. He was kind of like a bougie kind of pick late Sunday morning. And to be honest with you, that wasn't the bougie pick on Sunday morning. The bougie pick that we all should have been on was Benny Snell. And he is coming in again.
You were on Sunday. Him.
What?
You were on him a little bit.
Yeah, I Benny Snell at 6,100. He's coming back. He had 21 carries last week, and Samuels was healthy, and they still gave him 21 carries. Carson is out again this week. He's done. He's not going to play this week. They already said he needs a little bit more time. So we got a home game against the Browns in what is going to be probably one of the people are going to want to watch that game just because of what happened 2 weeks ago. Like, they're going to be out for blood. You know, we got a third-string quarterback, which, by the way, it's kind of funny that Tomlin pulled Rudolph in the end of last game, maybe knowing that maybe this is how it would spin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it won't look like I'm benching him for this game so he doesn't get his brains kicked in. So if I bench him, take him out the game before, I'll just play Hodges, see what happens. I think they're going to try and run the ball. It's going to be an ugly game. Both defenses are it's just going to be ugly. The Pittsburgh fans are going to get in there, and it's just going to be an ugly game. And I think Benny Snell at 6,100 on FanDuel with his volume, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be great, but he's got a great spot that he's going to be in. I'm with you on the Miles Sanders call. For me, I'm done with him. He just needs a little bit more oomph to it. I think Ronald Jones is in play. We all saw what Derrick Henry did against Jacksonville last week. Ronald Jones is no Henry, but he is still a viable running back. The guy that I like, and I might be almost all in, and maybe in cash games, I'm not, but he's definitely is Phillip Lindsay. He has had one good game all year, one really good game all year, and that was against the Chargers. Ran for over 100 yards and a touchdown, 4 passes for 33 yards. Last year, he had 2 great games against who? Chargers. Phillip Lindsay basically just takes out his 8D, slaps it across the Chargers.
You're the Chargers whisperer, so I'm going to trust you on this. I have a little bit of a grudge on him for last week, but he was in a pretty good spot, and I mean the whole team just dropped the neg, so it might not necessarily be his fault. I want to throw a couple guys at you and see what your thoughts are on them. So the first one's going to be Fournette, right? So Tampa is the funnel of the number one quintessential. You cannot run on them. You can only throw on them. But Fournette is a fucking tank. And his pass game involvement has increased a ton this year. What do you think about him this
year? I think he makes for an excellent GPP play. Nobody's going to go to him. They're going to see exactly what everybody sees, but he's also a very good running back. Saw what he did against a very good run defense his rookie year in the Steelers and just ran through them. And so I just feel like, you know, he's going to, you know what it is? He stays involved in the passing game. And he had 8 targets last 8 catches last week. So he does that too. He's going to get some catches out of the backfield. And all he has to do is get a couple catches, get 40 yards, but fall in the end zone twice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had a season-long team last week that had Jameis, Fournette, Godwin, and Landry.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Mahomes, who's usually my quarterback, on a bye, and I put up 212.
Very, very nice. Yeah. So let me just go back and say something else. Philip Lindsay, week number 10 against the Chargers, 11 attempts, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions, 27 yards. That was in Los Angeles last year. And then let's see, the first game, I don't know if he played that much, but the second game he did. But obviously last year you saw earlier this year you saw what he did. So if there's another game, I know there was a second game, and I think that he played. I think he did quite well in that last game against the Chargers. So I can't remember, but he played earlier this year. So I like Philip Lindsay, 6,300. He's gonna stay. That's the only way that they're gonna stay in this game. Stay with knowing with Chargers, Derwin James might be back this week. So that is a big, big, big get if Chargers come back. Anybody else at running back? Who said you want to ask me? Anybody else?
Saquon.
He's in another great spot. Going to go against the Packers. They're going to want to slow it down. We know you can run the ball against the Packers. So I haven't missed him all year, and I don't feel like we're going to miss him again tomorrow or on Sunday. I just don't feel like you're going to have him. You could, but I don't know if the lineup build is going to do it or what have you. I think that go down $300 more on FanDuel, and Le'Veon Bell is going
to bring up
is in just another great spot. I think if you go down a little bit further, got to start thinking a guy like Jonathan Williams, just his volume alone. 2 games in a row, they've given him the carries, 13, 26 volume alone. He falls in at that. It's just Tennessee has not been the great run defense since the beginning of the year. Saw what Fournette did last week. Stayed involved. Williams isn't going to give you a lot in the pass game, but he'll give you enough. And if he scores a touchdown, it's just fine. There's no real value guy I think that look at to where I'm like, okay, yeah, you got to play him. Besides, like I said, Benny Snell at 6,100 is my favorite play. The one guy that I'm actually happy that none of us brought up last week because he actually became kind of bougie, I guess, on Twitter was Patrick Laird. Everybody was loving him all of a sudden. He was going to unseat Balaj and Laird, and everybody was touting him. And I was like, dude, I didn't even think of that guy. Like, cross him off. Like, weird. But anyways, any other running backs you want to talk
about? No, I think that's about it. Pretty much touched on everyone that I'm really interested in.
All right. So before we go on receivers, what is your least favorite Thanksgiving dish?
There's sometimes when the turkey just tastes like shit. Hate that more than anything, but there's nothing that I really hate. I guess that I don't even know what it's called. It looks like somebody threw up in a bowl. But I guess that.
See, to me, it's turkey. I'm not saying I don't like. I just do not. Of all the dishes, turkey is like the least amount that I will eat. I like all the other side dishes. Turkey, like it's either dry or it's not taste that good. Like I just feel like people spend way too much time on it, and it just is not. It's very overrated. That's my.
You get a piece of turkey that it's like cut up perfectly, but then in the middle there's like this. It looks like somebody just like put a little piece of plastic inside of the turkey. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so I don't mind it. But yeah, the turkey is just it is what it is. I can go without it and just have all the side orders. So, but wide receiver this week, you start us off. Who you like?
Okay, Davante Adams. Yeah, we started to talk about this a little bit, but he's going up against probably the worst corner in the league. So I love him. I think somebody like Christian Kirk is going to be popular. We touched on DJ Chark a little bit in that matchup. And on the other side, I mean, I think we're talking game stacks. I mean, this is the game that includes probably the most people that have a really high ceiling all in the same game. So when that happens, it's probably a good idea to at least make a couple of builds where you're including those guys with the really high ceilings. So obviously here we're talking. I mean, you could probably build a lineup where you put either Foles or Jameis at quarterback. You can literally play both running backs on both teams. I don't usually recommend that, and I don't think you'll need to, but you can here. And then you can obviously play Godwin, you can play Evans, and you can play Chark. So, and then you can even play somebody like Chris Conley, who on DraftKings is only 4,500. He gets a pretty decent amount of looks each week. So I like the potential of a game stack there. And then Cooper Cup, that whole offense is so frustrating to me, but I just think this is a get right spot for him. It's obviously not his fault. That offensive line can't block anything right now, and it just shows that Goff. What I said like 3 weeks ago, that Goff literally just cannot throw when he's under pressure. So I'm hoping that this is a bounce back week for Cup. What do you think about? So I'll give you two guys. So one, Devontae Parker, and two, Sammy Watkins.
Devontae Parker is the first guy I put in like my dummy lineup for cash for wide receiver. Like I can't see him not at 6K on FanDuel. I can't see him not getting the value that you. I mean, he's literally gotten 31 targets in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's like Hopkins' number.
You know, if you just get in the damn end zone, like I feel like it's coming. I really do. Like I really feel like he's getting in the end zone on something. You know, like the Eagles secondary is very beautiful.
Yeah, it is weird. Their defense has been pretty good lately. I mean, Russ has been ridiculous, and I mean, we know that they play down to their opponents, but he didn't really do anything against them. Threw a pick, they fumbled a couple times, but there's nobody that could like one-on-one cover him.
No, at all. So
on his own, so he'll just sit underneath.
But I echo what you're saying with Davante Adams. I feel like he is an amazing play. He was probably the other guy that literally I was like, man, he's going up against DeAndre Baker. He's just going to eat his lunch all week. Mike Evans, I think this is the Mike Evans week over Godwin. I just think that you can beat the Jags on the outside. They've been kind of stingy on the inside. So DJ Chark on the side, I feel like that's just the way to go. D.D. Westbrook has also been very popular. I feel like Chark was more popular with Minshew, and D.D. is, more popular with Foles. So pick your poison there. D.D. is cheaper. So, but I think Chark has a higher ceiling for sure. Way more touchdown upside, big play upside. I think you're right. Cooper Kupp's going to go a little bit on like just because he hasn't done shit in the last few weeks, and he's in such a get right spot against Arizona, and he just has not performed very well the last 4 out of 5 or 6 out last 6. Wow, 5 out of 6 weeks done nothing except for 31 and a half points against Cincinnati. He really has done nothing. So teams are definitely scheming to get them out. DJ Moore has been nothing but consistent. There's another guy who's gotten 34, 44, like basically gets over 10 targets a game.
They finally started to price him in the right place on DK.
Yeah.
They forgot about him. But, I mean, if you look at his targets dating all the way back to the beginning of the season, I mean, he's consistently right around double digits. It doesn't make much sense.
He's 6,800. Tyler Boyd, I feel like if you want to pair anybody with Dalton, Boyd would be your guy. But I don't think you have to on Sunday. And then, obviously, if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, Mecole Hardman at 5,600 becomes in play. Tyreek Hill is a very good play, too, I think, for GPPs. I think he could win you the slate if he stays healthy, but I could also see him running 2 routes and Hammy pulling up on him.
That's never happened before, has it?
Let's see. Anybody else?
From like one of the top passing offenses in the league the past couple weeks, the New York Jets.
Yeah, Crowder. You know what I mean? Like Demaryius Thomas and stuff, and Robbie Anderson. Cincinnati is a bad secondary. So
I think Demaryius Thomas is cash game viable on DraftKings potentially. 3,600. He had a touchdown called back last week. It was bullshit.
Yes, he did.
But that was stupid. That's basketball. I just got my standard Anthony Davis questionable to return Wednesday Fantasy Labs tweet. So
that game is still going on in New Orleans. That's funny.
Apparently.
All right. Before we move on to tight ends, have you even noticed last week what happened? Have you been kind of going on Twitter and seeing what's been kind of the controversy on Twitter the last few days about DFS?
What's going on?
Well, last week, I guess the cash game on FanDuel was an obvious build and such, and it thus led to about 40 lineups out of 100 being the same lineup. Yeah. So, it's happened a few times. Like if you play cash games on FanDuel, you know that it happens every week. Kind of deal with it. Some weeks it's worse than others. Problem that I have is that I have DFS pros that are a part of these trains. So it's kind of not even so much pros. I'm not even saying pros aren't a problem with it. People that work for companies that are pros that, basically say, hey, join my website. And they're pros. Me and you aren't pros. We're just DFS players. You know what I mean? We you know what I'm saying? Like, but these guys are what they do for a living. This is what they do. And so they basically are they use these optimized lineups, but yet they don't give these lineups to their consumers. So thus, they're winning and they're taking these monies from their customers that are trying to win these cash games, these lower level cash games where these like business owners are in like $5 cash games and $2 cash games and stuff like that. So that's my problem with it. I don't think you're ever going to be able to solve the whole, people are lineup sharing and stuff. I think people have the same type of optimizers and maybe you're sharing the same type of optimizer projections and stuff, and thus it's going to spit out the same thing. But it definitely is peculiar when you see, DFS pros literally have the same lineup every single contest in every single sport. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, and I never seem to get the same lineup as them.
No, me and Paulie make a joke that like, oh yeah, like on Saturday night, there's like, I want to be a part of the underground, chat where they throw around this lineup. They're like, okay, this is the lineup we're all playing in cash. I feel like that's what they do. Like there's like an underground chat that like you got to get in the fight club. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't talk about it. It's like they have it anyways.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think the best thing to do is, I mean, this is something that I've played around with, and that's just going on a bunch of different sites, as many as you can get access to, that have projections, and average them out, and use those, because I mean it can't be that far off.
All right, tight end spot this week. It's pretty obvious. You got Travis Kelce up at the top. Right now it is. Let's see. Like Zach Ertz is hurt right now, so he's a little bit questionable. If he happens to not play, I think that would make Dallas Goedert the de facto chalk tight end play of the week going up against Dolphins, especially with the limited wide receiving option of the Eagles. I think Goddard's a decent play anyways. The guy I think might right now is the pay down option for tight end is probably Jack Doyle. Colts. No Ebron, got Mo Alley Cox, but Jack Doyle is the leader in that tight end depth chart now. So I feel like he is the pay down option on Sunday for cash that you can have. I like that. He seems like he's safe. He's probably only an AT4 for 30. The other guy I'm probably looking at, I'm really paying attention to is if Gerald Everett doesn't play, I think then Tyler Higbee becomes the chalk play of the week again because you have tight ends against Cardinals.
Yeah.
So 5,500, and to me, I feel like that is just the obvious play. If
Ford caught a touchdown against them, so
he caught 2 and he should have caught 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Doyle's probably the most popular on DK. I mean, unless we hear a confirmed announcement, but 3,300 for Doyle is pretty good. 2,500 obviously for Higbee sounds even better against the Cardinals, but if Everett is good to go, Doyle's obviously a lock for cash, 3,300, and probably a lock for tournaments because tight end just sucks. It's awful. You
just don't want him to get a 0.
And the thing is, here's the thing about like playing somebody like Kelce and Ertz with just how expensive they are relative to all these other guys. One, I think Kittle being 11,000 cheaper than Kelce on DK is obviously pretty stupid. I think Kittle's by far the best tight end in the league right now, and I don't care that they're playing the Ravens. That's definitely something that I'm gonna look at. But with all the cheap options that are available, one of them is some of them are going to go off and probably put up a score that's similar to Kelce. If that happens, your lineup is just screwed. So that's why I usually just hate paying up at tight ends because the only way, or at least on DraftKings, because it's way different, but the only way they kill you is if they drop like 40, which like never happens. So more often than not, in the long run, the cheaper tight ends are definitely the way to go. So for me, Doyle, then if Everett's out, then I'll replace him. Honestly, I'd probably play both of them cash on DK. 530, 300. Easy getting in McCaffrey. So
yeah, I'm with it. Yeah, tight end has just been a shit show all year. So just try and get somebody that's not going to kill you. Kind of go with the herd. Find out who's the chalkiest low price guy and go with that. All right, one last question. Give me another Give me another Thanksgiving dish that you really like. Just throw it out there. Something that stands out. Maybe a dessert. Nice pumpkin pie.
Asshole. Well, man, I never really knew what it was. I always thought the sweet potatoes was like a dessert during the meal, because that shit comes with marshmallows.
That was a question. That was a question I was going to ask you. Is the sweet potato casserole, is that a dessert? I mean, got brown sugar on it. Got marshmallow.
It tastes like a fucking dessert.
Tastes like a dessert. You
It's
know,
a
if they put a slab of ice cream on it after you ate a piece of prime rib, it would be dessert, right? Am I right? If they put a piece of, you know, so yeah, I'm with it. You know, believe it or not, I like stuffing. I like stuffing. People like, oh, stuffing. No, I actually like
what I
stuffing.
was thinking about.
You know, I don't mind it. I think people don't like. I don't mind it. Put some gravy on that shit. Just like you know, stuff it all in my mouth and just put all the gravy and just take it all down. Like you did.
Just
You know
like
what I'm saying?
cheated on you.
You like that, huh? You set myself up. You set me up so good. I didn't know which way to go. I could have went with, oh, I've seen that in a porn earlier today when I was edging. I could have said it so many other ways. And it was like, it literally was like perfect. Everybody go back and watch the beginning of it, where literally he says this describing his favorite dish, and I'm telling you guys, it's awesome. Before we get into defense, we got a question in seasonal league. Full PPR, Benny Snell or Juju at the flex?
Dude, honestly, that's literally a joke that we even have to consider that. But I mean,
I like the Snell just for the volume.
yeah, and I think Duck has a better relationship with these secondary receivers just because the third string quarterback is usually practicing with the receivers that are lower on the depth chart. So.
All right. I'm telling you, I think at one point we probably started up again. I think that's what happened because we've been going longer than 25 minutes. We had to have had a longer show than 25 minutes. I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it seems better now, though. Seems a little bit better now. So, all right, let's move on to defense this week. To me, I feel like defense is pretty easy. Depending on, there's a lot of options, you know, that you want to go to. To me, I feel like the Panthers are the obvious choice. I know people are going to go to the Eagles at 5K. I don't really care for them. The Jets with Dalton, if we're going to play Dalton in cash, we're not going to go back. We're not going to play the Jets. Packers, I ain't going to do on the road. But at least Carolina at home. I don't mind if, like I said earlier, I dropped that hint. If Derwin James is back, I like the Chargers. I don't mind them anyways because they're 3,900 either. They're in a decent spot.
I forgot about him.
Yeah.
He's a stud.
Oh, he's one of the five best defensive players in the league.
Yeah. That's facts.
I also think that if you wanted to get a little, I think the Ravens D at home is in play. We could see Garoppolo just imploding. You know, that game in general, Matt, like I feel like people are going to just cross it off. You don't need it, so to speak. Like I don't want to even kind of look at it, but how do you see that game going? Because
dude, I honestly think it could go either way. It could be like that super close game. I think the one scenario that's not going to happen is the Niners are not going to blow the Ravens out. That's just definitely not going to happen. They might narrowly edge them, just like you a little bit earlier today.
Yes.
But,
I mean, because we all seen this. We saw the Browns go to Baltimore.
I don't know. That was just like one of those weird things that just is kind of unexplainable. Mm-hmm. I guess what the Ravens' other loss was against Kansas City, and That game wasn't really close, but the Ravens were just kind of getting their feet wet. Don't they just kind of like they just have that feel that reminds me of the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, of just like their confidence and their swagger. Like, bro, I'm like scared of Mark Ingram right now.
Oh, I think right now there's not a team in the NFL that could beat the Ravens on a neutral site.
I think that the Patriots are still going to beat them in the playoffs somehow, just because
They're the Patriots.
My friends the other day, yeah, they're the Patriots. When is it ever a good idea to bet against Bill Belichick? Remember last year in the playoffs? You remember what happened in the playoffs because you guys did it to him. Exactly what the Chargers did to Lamar in the playoffs. They shut his ass down. You don't think Bill's literally been drawing up a game plan to do that? He's literally in his bed right now. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about the game tomorrow. He's in his bed right now with like just his underwear on, and he's writing up a game plan for how they're going to stop Lamar in the championship game, which is going to be in Foxborough, by the way.
Well, they have to go undefeated the rest of the way. So
yeah,
I can see it happening. You know, I'm not. It's going to be interesting. The playoffs are going to be nuts. I think on the other side in the NFC, you know, I think the Saints can play with them. They're pretty damn good right now. I think the Niners obviously can hang with them, and then obviously Russell Wilson in Seattle, they hung with them too. So that's going to be an interesting. To me, I still think it's funny now. You notice how nobody's saying anything about Russell Wilson as the MVP. Everything's Lamar. When we were saying it 2-3 weeks ago, when everybody was on Russell, and we were like, "What are you talking about? Lamar Jackson is MVP."
It's literally it's not even close. I don't even want to get started.
All right. Any other defenses you want to talk about before I'm going to pull up the Vegas insiders and we get on our.
Well, it's just a DraftKings specific play, just because they're so cheap. On FanDuel, the Browns D is 4,600, which you could still go there. But DraftKings 2,600, I'm pretty sure they're going to be the chalk D of the week.
What did they do? Oh my God, that is a misprice if I've ever seen it.
I have like some drunk college kid setting salaries that like is hungover and just like, yeah, all right, this is enough. I did enough for this position. I'm just going to go to the next one. I mean, there's so many weird things that happen with DraftKings salaries that just don't make any sense, but we got to take advantage of it, right? So 2,600 for the Browns D is pretty awesome. Another weird D, but they're 1,900 because DraftKings. The Giants playing against the Packers. I mean, Rodgers isn't really going to turn the ball over, but I could see that stupid like 16-10 game, you know, with like a couple turnovers. Not like neither of those running backs fumble. Well, I don't know about Williams, but Aaron Jones has definitely fumbled a shit ton of times. So you never know. 1,900, crazier things have happened, but you only have to pay $700 more for the Browns against Duck.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, DK, I've heard some people in the industry, you know, commend DK this year on their pricing. I think their pricing is a lot tougher. I don't think with defense. It seems like defense this year has been so weak. It's almost like they kind of want to give you a free square to make you.
Yeah, they might as well just. I've always been a proponent of that. I wish they would just remove defenses and remove tight ends, add one more running back slot and one more receiver slot or one more flex spot. That would be so much more.
But, you know, that might be coming down the pipe. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You have these other companies that, you know, they go somewhere else and other type of games that people are going to go to, and it might evolve. But that being said, we got 3 picks against the spread and stuff for this coming week. Let's stay away from tomorrow's game just because you might be watching this on Friday and it doesn't really matter what's going on in those games. But If you are a WiseTake member and you're seeing this tonight, be sure to join the WiseTake family, and there will be a Wise stream at in the morning tomorrow. Probably about 10:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, because the game started at 12:30. So I would assume somewhere around there. So join a day pass. The Thanksgiving slate is a lot of fun. So, anyways,
for the year easily.
Back to Sunday's slate. I'm gonna kick it off. I'm gonna go with the tough. It's really tough this week. I'm gonna go with I'm just gonna. God, it's hard. I don't know. It's so hard. That's what she. No, but she didn't. No, but she did. It's no time. No, but she did. I'm gonna take the over in the Rams-Arizona game, 47.
All right, that's not a bad place to start. So this is just, I guess, something to think about here. So an interesting little game is that Jets-Bengals game, right? So the Jets offense has obviously been pretty good the past couple of weeks, but they're still the Jets, right?
Yeah.
And they're 3.5-point favorites on the road in Cincinnati, which I know the Bengals haven't won a game, and they're probably not trying to win any games, but they can still win this game and get the number one pick. All they have to do is lose to the Dolphins. So I just have a weird feeling they're going to win that game. If you want to take the money line on Cincinnati, I don't hate that at all. But I do like them plus 3.5 regardless. But if I'm going to take Cincinnati, I'm going to take them to win, most likely.
All right. And I'm going to take 10 points in the Dolphins at home against the Eagles.
Yeah?
I can see Fitzpatrick staying with them because Wentz has not been good.
Well, I'll do you one. Last year, Fitzpatrick threw for like 400 something yards against the Eagles in week 2, and he was playing for Tampa. So, it's magic. You never know. It's magical. So yeah, I don't hate that at all. I think the Rams are gonna win this week, and I think they're gonna win by like at least 10 against Arizona. I just feel like this is a week for them to kind of at least show that they have some semblance of hope left to save the season, but it's obviously looking pretty unlikely that they make the playoffs with the division that they're in and the way that the conference is set up. So, but I do like them to win. Cover.
Yeah, and my third is going to be the under in the Tennessee-Indianapolis game.
It seems pretty safe.
I think they're two slow-paced teams that are going to run the ball.
Yeah. So, they've scored 20 points in every single game that Tannehill started. It's actually he's like he should be an MVP candidate. Now that might be a little bit of a hot take, but he's been ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually crazy how good he's been.
And it's Derrick Henry season now.
It is. Well, Tannehill's helped Henry so much because now they don't stack 8 in the box because they actually have to game plan for Tannehill. Mariota used to be the running threat quarterback, but Tannehill's been way better than Mariota really ever was on the ground. So it's been an interesting thing to see. It's pretty pathetic how Jameis has really good numbers, but both of them, Mariota and Jameis, like that was supposed to be the two next coming of Jesus quarterbacks, and both of them pretty shitty. Jameis has thrown 20 interceptions this year. That's a lot of picks.
He'll have a couple more on Sunday.
I feel like the 9.5 in that Raiders game is just like a trap. Maybe the Chiefs blow them out, but I just feel like for some reason that game is going to stay close. So I'm going to actually take the Raiders plus 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, you could You could sell me that the Raiders were somehow looking past the Jets last week.
Oh, 100%. And people forget, West Coast team traveling to the East Coast for a 1:00 game.
Yeah, it's there's something to it, and I get it. I literally I knew that the Raiders were going to have a hard time with the Jets just by the fact that they couldn't put away the Bengals the week before. And I was watching them, and I'm like, I can't buy this Raiders team.
We're talking about that.
You know,
something annoying. I'm in Jersey right now, so I can play on FanDuel Sportsbook. So I did a 5-team parlay, and all four of the 5 hit, and the one that didn't hit was Bears -6. They won by 5. The Jets money line, and then like the easiest picks ever. It was like Jets money line, Browns money line, Patriots money line, and Titans money line. The Giants scored like a late game touchdown.
Yeah, it kind of was a backdoor cover. Yeah,
in parlays, because guaranteed one of your 5 teams there's going to be some sort of tilting fluke. So,
all right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the Week 13 podcast. Be sure to join CK Paulie D as they go through the Week 13 live stream on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, depending on where you live. So, for my man Matt and myself, everybody at the WiseTake Nation, we would like to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving and a Thanksgiving weekend. Please be safe. Don't do anything that Audie Fulton wouldn't do.
Uber.
Trust me.
Literally, just call Uber or Lyft.
Yes, it works. It's easy. Uber or Lyft. Don't expose yourself to somebody in public.
I'm not going to discourage you to get drunk, but drive.
Yes. So, for Scribeezy, I'm Patio Joe. And as our man CK says in the back,
yeah.